John F. Kennedy said in about 1963 that things do not happen, things are made to happen. So by having days like this, we're able to inform the community and allow them to actually hear stories of which have happened here so that we can go into the community and make change to happen. So, I just wrote something down that I thought was good. I remembered it last night, so I thought I would write it down so I don't forget it for today. So, in the end, we remembered, oh, wrong one. Think there are barriers which we must bring down of circumstance and new bridges that we must build that we can all cross together. So we must go through, in my opinion, that we must go through and we must try and bring those barriers down where we don't believe that just because someone may be black, white, yellow, orange, or magenta, I don't know many people who are magenta colored, but we must go down and we must try and bring those barriers down so that everyone can be treated equally depending on whether you're a man or a woman or what other ethnicity you are, or whether you may be gay, lesbian, heterosexual, or anything. It shouldn't just be because of the color of one's skin or anything like that that we should be singling people out. That's one of the other things that I tried to do throughout high school, is that we should not just say, oh, because you're black, this is what you're going to be, because you're white, this is what you're going to be, because you're Asian, this is what you're going to be. We should just have everyone, just let people be people, because you should not be singling people out or saying this is what someone is. You should be choosing someone to be your friend for the character of their heart, not by what they may look like. And that is it for me, so.
And does anyone have any questions for George? All right.
So, when you mentioned you were young when you first realized you were different.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, the color of your skin, what did you
Well, that's
think when
what.
you first noticed that?
Well, when I first looked at people, I was like, oh, well, just because I'm a different color doesn't mean that I'm different from anyone. But it was actually when I was at school that someone had approached me and said that, oh, because of this color, I am different than everyone else. And I don't want to go into the long, detailed conversation of it, but that's when I realized that I was different, because my skin color made me lower than what other people at my school were. And this is only in about grade 1 or 2, so obviously. And actually, there is one more short thing, if I have the time. Someone had asked, my mom and I were delivering papers one day, because little kids, obviously, you can't get a real job. So, and we were walking, and this little kid was with his mom, and he said, oh, why are they black? And instead of the mom saying something to her son, she decided to say that, oh, they're covered in chocolate or something like that. So instead of actually saying, oh, this is what it is, adults or parents may instill those sort of things into their children, which doesn't allow for change to actually happen. So it's good to have these sort of dialogues, I believe. But no, that's where the difference did come in. So does that sort of answer your question? Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask about the influence of your parents on you and your siblings, and as a role model, perhaps.
Well, as role models, both my parents are pretty strong people, very old school people, I guess you could say. My dad went to boarding school in the UK, so they used the paddle and the strap there, so I'm sure you can imagine what he would be like at home too, but no, both of them, they both lead really good jobs. My dad and my mom both started a transportation company in Europe in 2001, so they're always traveling back and forth, and it's always been good to know that they were able to look up to them. And when I told them things that have happened at school as well, they would tell me that, oh, just, if someone disrespects you, you should give them respect anyways. It doesn't matter that just because they are calling you names or don't like you, you shouldn't try and get in that dialogue, because that's what they're trying to do, is to try and get you agitated. So I've always used that as something that I follow, because if I give someone respect and they don't give me respect, it's not going to really hurt me in the sense that they're always trying to degrade me. It's just going to make them angrier. So, any other questions? Yeah?
It's not really a question, but it's a kind of something I'd like to share. It's about the very first time I saw a black person. I was in grade 5, I think. And I was at our elementary school, and this gentleman was working outside on the street, I think, and he was about, if anything, even darker than me. And at that time, you know, my brothers and my sister and I used to like to go out on the beach and get a tan, you know, and the darker the tan you got, the better, see? And I looked at this man and I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to get a tan like he's got. He's got the king of tans. I wanted to shut up a little. I envied that man his black skin like you wouldn't believe.
Well, actually, as we talk about that as well, when I went back to my high school the other day, I had gotten an allergy shot, and I had a Band-Aid on because, you know, they don't make different colored Band-Aids. So I went there, and someone was like, "Oh, when you get cut, you go skin colored?" I'm like, "What? what do you mean skin colored?" And they're like, "Oh, well, you know what, it's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that." So, but no, that was an interesting thing that you said, so I just thought I would share that with you.